Hey, I just got back from lunch. Did you finish that report yet?
Well, not exactly. Still working on it. I'm not finished just yet. I got a little sidetracked, but I will get them to you first thing this afternoon.
It is first thing this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I am working on
But
it. I'll have.
what do you mean that the report isn't finished yet?
I'm still in the process of working on it. I've just been a little distracted.
Distracted. Our meeting starts in an hour.
I can have it.
No. What were you doing? Were you listening to another hunting podcast again? I swear, I give the staff in this office the freedom to do whatever they want to do as long as they meet a deadline. That is the first bullet underneath your job description. Pays attention to detail and deadlines. And deadlines. With emphasis. F-O. Dude, are you even listening to me right now?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is summertime finally here in Pennsylvania, and we are looking forward to that November 2nd cold front where you're in a tree stand early in the morning and that buck of a lifetime walks out in front of you. Well, what are you going to do next? You have to draw your bow. You have to make the perfect shot. You have to send that arrow right through the vitals. But what if your bow's not tuned? What if you haven't been shooting all year? What if you haven't headed down to Williams Archery yet and got your bow tuned and got it shooting right so you can make that shot on November 2nd on a buck of a lifetime? I call that foolish, my friends, because you need to get down to see Ron and Linda Williams at Williams Archery. You need to get in there. You need to get your bow tuned up. You need to get those hands-on lessons. That's what it's going to take, guys. If you want to kill that buck of a lifetime, don't sit on your couch and say, hey, I want to kill a big buck. You need to get out and get your bow ready to kill that big buck. You need to go pick up the accessories that you need to kill that big buck. Where do you do it? Williams Archery, of course. I mean, it's the only place around here that I go to. It's my hometown. You know, Edinburgh, PA, that's just down the street from me. I grew up here. That's where I want to be when I have to depend on my bow to kill the buck of a lifetime. So give Ron and Linda Williams a call at 724-667-9660 and let them take care of you.
Welcome to episode 47 of the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. My name's Austin, and joining me in the Rack Shack today forever and for eternity because this podcast is the best. Charles Hedlund, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. What's going on?
Just recording podcasts and hanging out and enjoying the weather because it's summer.
You know what? The weather's been very good. We've complained a lot about the weather, but it has been wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, although during this episode, a random 5-minute torrential downpour just hit us.
It was a tsunami, dude. No, that's not the right word. It was it was a hurricane. It was gale force winds, hurricane rains. A tornado might have came through. I'm not sure what was going on, but it got crazy.
I don't know about all that, but you know what? That little storm might have dropped a little more of these guys right here in my hand.
Yeah, man. That's exciting to me.
What is going on right now? I'm holding a full-sized green acorn.
In your hand.
In my hand right now. It is
Did you pick that?
14th.
Did you pick that off the tree?
No. You put these on my little desk spot here in the Rack Shack. And I was like, wait, where did these come from?
Yeah, man.
Because they don't make any sense. And I drew little faces on them, so they're pretty cool.
I noticed that.
But what is going on? Is it the wet weather we've had? Acorns should not be full size on August 14th.
And dropping.
I
walked out and I was mowing my grass a little bit earlier, and I looked down and there were acorns everywhere, man.
So what do you think that's going to do to the deer season? Do you think, we talked about it a little bit, these are red oaks.
Those are red oaks, yeah. They're not white oak.
They're red oak acorns, and I mean, I know they lose their acidity over time,
yeah,
and they become more favorable for deer.
Right, the tannins pull out of them.
Yeah,
they leach through the shell.
If they're dropping in August, come October,
they might be.
Is this going to be a food source that deer are going to be targeting other than white oaks?
I mean, it's definitely possible. It kind of blew my mind a little bit seeing as many acorns on the ground. It actually kind of startled me a little bit, but honestly, I think it's because we had such a wet spring. I mean, we got so much rain. Granted, other rain years we've had good acorn crops, but I don't remember seeing them in the middle of August dropping. As crazy
Never
as they
dropping. I've seen the trees full of them. I've seen them weighing down branches. And then, in September they drop and the deer eat them all. And I've seen that. Last year, that's exactly what happened last year
It's
at
a
my
carpet,
camp.
man.
Yeah, there was literally acorns everywhere, and deer were sucking them up like vacuums.
But it's kind of concerning to me in one way. I mean, I don't know whether we're going to have a crazy food source from the get-go and have too much food just right from the get-go. I mean, whether it's ag and acorns all over the place, but it could be concerning to me. Are they going to have a late season source because these are dropping so early?
I mean, the cap just came off of this.
Yeah.
This is a fully matured acorn in August.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling to me. But
I would agree. I think it could play two different ways, and I don't think either of them are good for us. One, they suck them all up in August and September, and there's no acorns come hunting season. Or two, there's such an abundance because acorns are doing so well, and you have red oaks that are going to be good at the same time as white oaks, and everything else is hitting at the same time. How are you going to keep deer in one spot? I mean, there are oak trees everywhere.
Around us.
Yeah. And there's big areas with a lot of oak trees. It's going to be tough.
Could be interesting to say the least.
Maybe this is just a rare occasion in your specific area.
I'm hoping.
But I think we need to get in the woods and maybe take a look into this and see if it's hitting any of our spots.
That's my opinion on it too. And I have been slacking big time. I still don't have cameras out. I might actually go do that tomorrow. I think I'm going to make the plan. I'm going to go out tomorrow and I'm going to put out cameras and do a couple quick spot scouting, I think.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Get maybe some intel on what's going on out there.
Yeah.
Because if this is happening in your yard, I know a couple spots that we hunt that are full of oaks.
Probably happening there too. Yeah, man. I definitely think it's a super weird phenomenon. I mean, we'll just have to see how it plays out, and we'll take this as historical data and run with it in the future.
Yeah, it's something new to learn. That's definitely a good thing. And like I said, if we can get out and maybe do some scouting and sit on a back porch or sit somewhere in a car and, slug a few brews, probably not in a car. Maybe we'll save the brews for the porch, but, and just see, are deer coming into these right now? Are they eating them? What is the effect of early dropping acorns in our area going to do to hunting?
Yeah.
That's something I want to answer. And if we can get that information out to some of our listeners too, I think they could appreciate it and maybe benefit from it. So, and speaking of benefiting from an episode, I think there's a lot to benefit from this episode with Grant Forney.
Could not agree more, man. The everyday outdoorsman.
Yeah, I mean, and it is. It's so relatable. He is the everyday outdoorsman. I mean, he's out there. He's getting it done. He's chasing a dream. We won't get into too much detail because we cover it all, don't you worry, on this episode. So why don't we dive right in, get Grant on the phone, chat with him for a little bit. What do you say?
I dig it, man.
All right, guys, on the phone with us today, we have Grant Forney from the Everyday Outdoorsman. What's going on, Grant? How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, guys. I'll tell you what, hunting season's coming up real soon, and I'm really looking forward to it. Great time of the year, so I'm doing really good. I really appreciate you guys having me on here today. I'm looking forward to it. I always love talking about deer hunting with guys like you, so it should be a pretty fun evening here.
Awesome, man. Well, we're glad you came on.
Heck yeah, that's why we're doing this. The podcast is because Austin and I love to talk about deer hunting, and what better way to do it than put a couple microphones in our face and call people on the phone and bring them on and share stories. That's what we love.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So Grant, before we get into too much of hunting talk and that kind of thing, we'd like to start maybe with a little bit of an intro to who you are and maybe where you're from, if you don't mind getting into that.
Yeah. Well, like you said, my name's Grant Forney. I'm from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, here in the southeastern part of the state, and I run a YouTube channel called The Everyday Outdoorsman. Make deer hunting videos, fishing videos, pretty much anything that you can think about outdoors related in Pennsylvania. I've probably made videos about it, and of course I have all the other social media that goes along with it. And yeah, I've been hunting and fishing ever since I was a young kid. My dad introduced me to hunting and fishing, and really the outdoors have been just a huge blessing in my life. I've hunted and fished with all my friends and family, and really it's my main passion and main hobby and a huge part of my life. So I've had a lot of fun doing it so far and plan on doing it for many years to come.
That's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you have quite a bit of time to actually be in the outdoors and go fishing and go hunting and make videos and stuff. What allows you to have that amount of time to go out and do all those fun things you like to do?
Well, I guess part of it is, I would say having a cabin plays into it. Like I have the opportunity to have a lot of places to go and hunt. My family has a place in north central Pennsylvania that we have 85 acres on, and so I'm going there on weekends. Fortunately, my parents are nice enough to let me and my friends go there several weekends of the year to hunt and fish. And I guess another big part too is I have a lot of friends and family that also love to hunt and fish. Like, it's kind of one of those things that I don't like to hunt and fish on my own nearly as much as I do with other people. So when I have friends that love to do it, I think that helps me get out more because they want to go do it. And when they want to go do it, I want to go do it with them. And so I think those are probably the main things that help me get out there more, and why I spend so much time doing this stuff. And it's just a lot of fun to be out there with friends and family doing it.
Heck yeah, man. Well, you're a pretty young guy, but are you doing anything right now for work, full time or anything?
Currently, I am full-time YouTuber, and so I'm doing this as my full-time job right now. I actually just graduated college back in December, so this is my first year out of school, and I'm doing the YouTube channel full-time, do a little bit of writing, of course, a little bit of photography here and there on my social media pages, and so, yeah, I'm fortunate enough that I have a lot of time to be out in the outdoors right now, and it's maybe, don't get me wrong, I do have a lot of time to be out there, but it's maybe not quite as much as some people would expect, because a lot of people don't realize, like, the people that make YouTube videos, a lot of the viewers don't realize how much work goes on behind the scenes for what we do. Like, I spend nearly just as much time in my office editing videos as I actually do out in the field, which I also love that half of it, but it's just kind of a part of the job, and it's just kind of what goes along with it. So I do get a lot of time to spend out there in the woods and out there fishing, but it's not every day like some people think it would. So, like, this fall, I will get to hunt quite a bit, but it won't be like I'll hunt every single day of the whole week. Just that's kind of one of the things that a lot of people don't realize. Some people might think that the people that make these hunting shows and the YouTube videos, that we just go out there and the videos go straight from us hunting and onto the laptop, and then that's it, and they're on YouTube. But there's definitely a lot of hours spent on the computer making videos and of course doing some other related things to the business too. But like you guys said, yeah, I do have a lot of time. Right now I'm at a point in my life where I have a lot of time to be out there in the outdoors. So definitely thankful for that and trying to take advantage of it while I have it.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. I mean, you're kind of living the dream that I think we all want, you know. and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. You're out chasing a dream, and you're out, you know, chasing goals that you set. And I think I actually wish you the best of luck, and I hope everything goes really well. And I know we'll support you from here on out for sure. And you know, I also wanted to mention for everybody Northwest PA guys that are listening, he's in Lancaster. I know he said Lancaster, you know, because that's how you actually say it, but
everybody outside of this county says it that way.
Over here, it's definitely Lancaster.
Lancaster.
You know, where they made that Amish movie or show.
All right, well, whatever you guys want to call it, I guess I'll just have to deal with it.
No, I get it. I get it all the time. My real good buddy, my best friend, his wife grew up in Lancaster, so she set me straight a long time ago. But all right, so let's get into it, man. The meat and potatoes, you kind of covered a little bit of everything. You stole our whole question on how you got into hunting with your intro there a little bit. So your hunting season is about to start a lot quicker than most people in Pennsylvania, because you're actually going to Maryland to do some hunting a little early.
That's right.
We are severely jealous, by the way.
Yeah. And, yeah, like you guys said, it's coming up real quick. Our season, or I should say the season in Maryland, starts in, I guess, just a little bit over 3 weeks on September 6th. And I'm fortunate enough, I live not real far from the Maryland line. So, like, a couple of my public spots that I hunt in Maryland, I really only have like an hour drive or maybe an hour and a half drive to some of them. So they're close enough to where I can make a day trip out of it and just go down there in the morning real early and hunt and then come back, or it's even close enough that I can just do like an afternoon hunt if I want. So that's real nice. And last fall was actually the first fall that I started hunting down there in Maryland. And really the main thing that drew me to look at the opportunities down there were how long of seasons they have and the excessive amount of deer tags that you get down there. Of course, like I said, their season starts in early September, so I have a whole month to archery hunt down there before anybody in PA even starts, which is real nice. And then their season goes the whole way through, I think, the very last day of January 31st, and you can deer hunt, whether it's archery, muzzleloader, or rifle. You can deer hunt every single day from opening day in September through January 31st for basically almost 5 months, every day except for Sundays. And so that's a really nice part about it. So I get some good early season hunting in. I can get some good rut hunting in down there when Pennsylvania closes, like right after PA archery closes. There's like that 2-week break before rifle.
Yep.
I can deer hunt down in Maryland during that time frame. And then of course the late season too, like in late January, I can still be deer hunting down there. So it's really a great situation with that long season, and you get multiple buck tags and you get a whole pile of doe tags for each season. So really, I mean, it's like you'll really never run out of tag from Maryland unless you're really shooting a lot of deer. But it's a lot of fun down there. Deer numbers are pretty high in some areas. There's some decent pieces of public land to hunt that I've had some decent success on. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it starting down there in a couple of weeks.
That's awesome, man. Do you just hunt whitetails down there, or do you ever venture into going after a Sika deer?
I have not gone after Sika deer yet, but I know they're down there. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and from what I hear, it's a lot of fun to go after those things. And so that's something I'm definitely, I think, interested in here in the future. I don't know if it'll be next year or when it'll be, but it's definitely something I'd like to look into. But no, I have not done it yet, but heard a lot of good things about it. So definitely, I think would be something that would be pretty fun to try.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. You should definitely, you should reach out to Garrett Benner, the Modern Assassin, and kind of pick his brain on it a little bit.
Okay, he does that a lot down there.
Yeah, we talked to him about it a little bit, and he's got videos on his YouTube channel. I mean, he shot some pretty good stags, and, you know, he loves it.
Yeah, he absolutely loves it. He loves the meat. I mean,
I've heard from a couple guys that it's almost like hunting for little mini elk.
Yes.
That's exactly what he said.
That's exactly what he said.
Yep.
You know, it's really cool.
They have a bugle, right?
Yeah. It's more like a roar.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy, though.
It's a crazy, very unique noise. But they are wonderful little animals, and I would love to do that someday. I think that'd be so much fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I forget exactly what kind of area they're in, but I don't think it would be too much farther of a drive for me to get down there.
I think they're around Chesapeake Bay area.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, it would be within distance for me to probably give it a try sometime. So that's definitely something I'll probably have to do a little bit more research on and learn about, and maybe start checking out a couple spots or something.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I think that'd be something that would really be honestly pretty cool. And I think you'd probably really get into it, and then you'd be like, oh, no, whitetail. No, I'm just kidding.
You never know.
Yep.
So this is a good transition time then. I believe I saw that you put down a Maryland buck last year. Is there any truth to that?
Yep, that's true. I did. Nice. I did put down a Maryland buck last year, my first year at it down there. It's kind of a funny story. It happened, I think the day was November 17th. So it was, actually, yeah, now I remember. It was when the first day of bear season was going on in Pennsylvania. It was that Saturday. And I was on a spot that I had only hunted, I think I had hunted there 2 days in early season. I think I hunted there the first 2 days of the season, actually, early September. And then I had not made it back there until I went there November 17th. And I had hunted up at my camp in north central PA for like the last, I think it was like 8 days of archery in PA. So I was up there like for the prime of the rut, and I was on some big deer. I was never able to close the deal for my PA buck tag that week. And so I'm kind of thinking like, that's probably my last good chance at like, a decent buck until rifle season. But I go down to Maryland that next Saturday, and not really expecting a whole lot because it was a piece that I'd only been on a couple times. I didn't really think there was anything too big in the area. And I go down there, and I'm just sitting on the ground. I'm not even in a stand. I'm just sitting on the ground with my bow behind sort of like a tree that was falling over for a little bit of protection. And sure enough, I have like this awesome public land 8-point just cruise right to me like a half hour before dark. I to be honest with you, I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw him coming through the timber at me. He looked just absolutely huge, and it's kind of one of those moments where it's happening, and you're seeing it happening, and you're thinking like, this can't be real right now.
Yeah.
And he comes right into me with his head down to like 15 yards, maybe stops and sees me, and I'm at full draw, and then he turns and I shoot him, and the shot in it, I had kind of a weird angle on the shot. Long story short, we ended up waiting until the next morning. Me and a couple buddies went in, and we found him, and it was a pretty good 8 point for Maryland public land. Certainly a deer that I was super thankful to get down there for my first ever out of state buck like that, and a public land archery buck like that. So that was a lot of fun. Definitely one that I'll never forget.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Yeah, thanks.
So other than Maryland, then, what about PA? I know you kind of touched it a little bit, but overall, your PA season, how'd that go?
It was good. I never did fill my PA buck tag, but I'll tell you what, I had an absolute blast hunting in PA, up at my camp, hunting a couple other public land spots up there. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun up there where my camp is in north central PA. Like I said, we have 85 acres up there, so we have the opportunity to plant a couple food plots and to kind of manage the land the way that we want to, and maybe control how much pressure the deer are getting and control what we shoot and what we don't shoot. So we get that private land opportunity. And then there's also tons of public land up there that I love to hunt, that there's some really big deer even on the public land up there. So I did a lot of both of that last year. I hunted my private land some, I hunted the public land quite a bit, and saw a lot of deer, saw some really good bucks, and I took a couple of doe there at my cabin. And it was a great season. Filled the freezer, got to spend a lot of weekends up at the cabin with my buddies and with my family, and made a lot of memories. So definitely a successful and fun season.
That's awesome, man.
That's what it's all about, dude. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Now, when you're hunting, are you primarily an archery hunter, or do you really get into flintlock, or you really get into rifle season or anything like that?
I primarily am an archery and rifle guy. I personally have not flintlock hunted ever. So when it's archery season, I got my bow, and when it's rifle season, I'll have my gun out there. I'm not like one of those guys that's strictly archery all year round or anything like that. I definitely like to get the gun in my hand once rifle season comes around. So
yeah, man.
I pretty much I'll hunt whatever's in season.
Dig it. Do you do any turkey hunting or anything like that?
Yeah, I do
game?
a little bit of spring turkey hunting. Spring turkey hunting to me, I didn't really come from a family that spring turkey hunted much, so it's kind of been something that I've had to self-teach myself a little bit. Mm-hmm. And over the years, I've tried to get better at it. I've actually still never killed a turkey, but I've had some close calls. And this year, fortunately, I got to hunt spring turkey more this spring than I ever had before. And that's one of the biggest things too. Like, I haven't put as much time into it as I have deer hunting, and that's probably the biggest reason I haven't been successful. But I'm trying to learn more about it every year, and it's a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, I had a blast out there this spring. I had some really close calls. I hunted like the first 4 or 5 days of spring turkey season up there at my camp. If I would have been a little more experienced, there was at least a couple birds that I should have killed that week. But I made a couple rookie mistakes, I guess you would say, and I'm sure that'll make me a better hunter here for the future. So I'm already looking forward to next spring, no doubt about it. Looking to hopefully fine-tune my skills a little bit more and hopefully be successful here for the first time.
That's awesome, man. You're starting to get the bug a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I always heard guys say that. Like, I know a couple guys that are like the die-hard spring turkey hunters that they like it more than anything else. They like it more than deer hunting or anything you can think of. And they just say, like, there's nothing like hearing a fired up gobbler and calling in a gobbler like that. And so I talk to those guys, and it's like, man, this is like a real thing that guys love. And I definitely started to get that bug a little bit this spring. I'm not going to say that I like it more than deer hunting or anything yet, but like you guys said, I definitely started to get that bug this spring.
Definitely, man. Listen, I love turkey hunting, but I am freaking infatuated with whitetail hunting, man. Yeah. There's nothing that's going to change that for me.
Nothing replaces whitetail, especially archery whitetail hunting for us, man. That's our gold, our bread and butter. But I've kind of been the same way as you. You know, didn't grow up too much turkey hunting, but kind of got into the last few years, and I'm tore up with it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Started getting calls and mouth calls and learning and just watching a ton of videos. And you can watch the Hunting Public Turkey Tour and learn so much from that.
Right.
You know, that's a great start for people that are just getting into turkey hunting. Just watch that and see it. You know, because we learned a lot.
Yep, I was watching them quite a bit. I was watching the Pinhoti Project quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a good one. Pinhoti's good.
He has an absolute wealth of knowledge. Obviously, he's been kind of turkey hunting his whole life, of course, and he's, I guess, one of the top guys that is known about in the country.
I swear he was always killing turkey this year. I mean, every other post was him smoking his victory cigars.
I agree. Yeah, that's hilarious. How
Yeah.
does that every video like that, which is pretty cool. But no, like you guys, yeah, I'm right there with you. I've tried to watch as many videos as I can, do a lot of reading, and just learn as much as I can about it. But I agree with you guys. I am a whitetail guy at heart, and that I think will always be my number one passion. But spring turkey can be a close second, I guess.
I dig it.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Well, getting out of spring and kind of sticking along with you being a whitetail nut, what's your summer going to look like? You getting into scouting? You run trail cams? You doing food plots? What do you got going on, man?
Pretty much everything that you just said I've been doing.
Nice.
A lot of public land scouting I've done this summer. I have a lot of different spots I'm checking out. A couple spots that I hunted last year that I'm kind of just free checking out just lightly, but a lot of the scouting I've been doing is new spots. Checking out spots in north central PA, checking out some spots here in southeastern PA where I live, and then a lot of spots down in Maryland, and running a lot of trail cameras too. I think between me and one or two other guys, we have like somewhere around 25. We're running like something like 25 or 26 trail cameras maybe between our private and public land.
Oh man, I'd hate to see your battery budget.
Yeah. No, you're right. We've spent quite a bit of money on batteries and SD cards, and not to mention buying those trail cameras over the years. So,
yeah, definitely.
But we love running trail cams. We love seeing what's in the areas that we're hunting. It's kind of one of those things I try to tell people, like, I try not to use trail cameras as a replacement for actual scouting, like on the boots, physical scouting.
Oh boy.
I still love to get out there and do all that. Trail cameras are just kind of like an extra tool that I use for fun to see what's in the area and maybe see how deer are moving through a certain area, what time they're coming through. So food plots, I actually just planted food plots last week up at our camp in north central PA. We planted 3 brassica plots, all relatively small. One's just a real small kill plot. And then we have a couple other plots that are like the half acre. So it'll be interesting to see how those do. We've had decent success with our food plots the past couple of years. They're definitely fun to plant. You see all types of wildlife benefit from them. So I'll be looking forward to see how those do. And
do you run your soil tests and run all your lime and everything, all your nutrients into your soil and stuff? Or
yeah, I try to do it. To the best of my ability. I do the soil samples and figure out the lime and fertilizer I need and how much, and we put that on, and we do our best to try to prepare the soil bed. Sometimes that's a struggle. And then of course we seed and cultipack and the whole deal. So I am by no means an expert. I'm not a farmer or anything like that, but I try to do my best with them and try to get the best possible, end result that I can. The past couple years, it turned out decent. I feel like my plots have done all right. Maybe not quite as good as you hear about from some other guys, but definitely still they've been effective at drawing in deer and holding deer on my property, I would say.
Hey, that's the point, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, man. Well, you're succeeding at it. I mean, that's the end goal that you're looking for, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So your PA Wilds trip that you went on, was that more of just a camping, kind of fishing, fun trip, or were you doing some scouting there as well?
Yeah, no, that was pretty much just a trip, just for fun, just to be out there camping. That was in an area a little bit west of where my family's property is. We were maybe an hour west of there, and we were in my opinion, probably one of the most remote areas of the state. It was an area that the couple buddies that I were with on that trip, they've been in there before. They do some deer hunting in there. We didn't really do any scouting while we were in there. We did a lot of fishing and just kind of having fun camping out. So that was a fun summer trip, just to be out there in the PA wilds kind of and spend a weekend out there camping with the buddies. So that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. And I saw that on your YouTube page, and, it's probably a good time. Why don't we get into a little bit of the Everyday Outdoorsmen YouTube channel that you have going on? Where did that all come from? I mean, what gave you the, just kind of the thought one day that, hey, I want to get into it, I want to do a YouTube channel?
Well, it's kind of an interesting story. I started the YouTube channel way back in 2010. So I would have been, I think I was 14 years old. I was in middle school at the time, and I was watching a lot of hunting shows on TV. I was watching a lot of other guys on YouTube, and I just kind of, I don't know if it kind of happened just one day, just like that, or if it was kind of a gradual thing that I thought of, but I kind of had the idea, like, it would be cool for me to start something like this where I could document my hunts and my fishing trips and any other kind of adventures I go on with my friends and family. It'd be cool to document that kind of stuff on film and have a place to show it to the rest of the internet and to show friends and other friends and family. And so that's kind of how the YouTube channel started. And that's really the main reason I started it, was just simply to show other people my hunts and my fishing trips and stuff like that. And I never thought that here I would be 9 years later and to see what it's turned into today. I never thought it would be what it is today. And now it's kind of turned into more so a thing where I still love just making hunting and fishing videos for fun. But I now have like more so goals that involve things like trying to use my platform to be a positive influence on the hunting community and trying to maybe show others why the outdoors can be such a blessing in their lives, just like it's been in my life. Like I said, the outdoors have been a huge blessing for me, and through my videos and through my social media, I kind of try to show that to other people and hopefully, in the end, get some new people or inspire some new people into the outdoors that maybe haven't hunted before, haven't fished before, and try to get some new people into the sport and try to grow the sport of hunting and fishing. And so that's kind of how the YouTube channel has evolved and the Everyday Outdoorsman has evolved. It's kind of turned into a thing like that where those are my goals. And like I said, still have a lot of fun just simply going out there with my friends and family making hunting and fishing videos, but definitely a platform that I try to use to be a good influence on really the whole outdoor community.
That honestly is a solid goal, man. I dig it. And I've watched a couple of your videos just recently. Like, you reached out to us and I was like, oh, I don't really know too much about him, and you sent the link for it and stuff, and I took a gander at it. It's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We definitely worked pretty hard at it. I've spent a lot of time on it.
You can tell.
And I try to do the best work I can. So yeah, I mean, it's always good for me to see followers reaching out and guys saying that they enjoy our stuff. That just gives me all the motivation I need to keep it going. So it's always good for me to see that. We definitely appreciate all the viewers we have, because without them, it really wouldn't be possible. So.
Yeah. Now, is this just you, or do you have a couple buddies that are in on it with you, or is it? How's that work?
Yeah, I have buddies that are in on it with me. A couple guys that really helped me out quite a bit with it, helped me out filming. That I've really guys that I've hunted and fished with for my whole life. That when I started this whole thing, kind of just hopped right on board with me. Thought it was just the greatest thing in the world, and they love doing it just as much as I do. So it's been a lot of fun working with them, and yeah, I'm fortunate enough. I have a lot of friends that, kind of like I said at the beginning, I have a lot of friends that love to hunt and fish. I'm fortunate enough to get to spend a lot of time out there with those guys hunting and fishing and having fun.
Yeah, it's not usually by mistake that most of your friends are people that are just like you, that love to hunt and fish.
Yeah.
We kind of find that here too. Some of our best friends are ones that are hunting buddies, or you meet and become hunting buddies, and those are the ones that stick. So it's pretty neat that can happen that way, and those are the people that you kind of bond with and help you along the way as well, and help you make content. And you guys do a lot of really good videos and a lot of good stuff on your channel, and I enjoy it. I watch quite a few videos, and I think you guys kill it. You do a lot of fishing too, man. Ton of fishing.
Yeah, we do. Yep. Yeah, that's when we're not hunting in the fall, we're pretty much fishing almost the rest of the year when we're not doing things related to deer scouting or deer season prep work or shed hunting or anything related to deer. When we're not doing that, we're probably fishing the rest of the year. So we love trout fishing and bass fishing, and I've been on some trips out of state and up to Canada before fishing. So definitely love getting out there on the water too.
So I know very little about that side of the state and kind of where you're at, other than the fact that all I really know is I feel like it's more of like an agricultural kind of area. But what is some of the terrain that you're actually hunting, and how is the deer hunting in that side of the state?
I would describe the terrain as relatively flat. We do have a lot of agriculture, like you said, and the deer numbers here are pretty high. The problem is I shouldn't say the problem. It's a good thing that we have a lot of hunters here. It can make the deer hunting tough, but we do have a lot of hunters here, and the public land hunting here can be, it's tough to say the least, is how I would describe it. I would say you can find deer for sure if you work hard on public land. It's going to be hard to find a really big buck. And if you do find one, there's probably going to be a handful of other guys that are after him too. but it's just kind of the way it is here in this specific area of the state. So that's kind of how I would describe it. It's definitely a challenge, which I kind of enjoy. And like I said, I'm fortunate enough that I have some other areas in the state I get to go to, so I enjoy that. I enjoy the challenge of hunting public around here, right around here where I live a little bit, but also being able to get away to some other areas of the state and chase whitetails elsewhere. So
That's awesome, man. I got kind of like a little bit of a two-part question for you. First of all, like, what's a typical, like, good buck in your area? And then what kind of buck are you typically looking for? Are you looking for, like, a big buck, like, score-wise? Or are you looking for a mature buck? Or, like, looking for a big buck, like, body size-wise? What are you after?
Well, I'll tell you what, that is a great question. Around here in the area of the state that I live in, if you can shoot a 2.5-year-old 8-point, that is a pretty good deer. That is definitely a pretty big accomplishment, I would say, for here. Now, I will typically, to be honest with you, I will typically do most of my buck hunting in north central PA, where my camp is. So when I'm hunting up there for a buck, I can sometimes be pretty picky. It kind of depends on what I think is in the area, or how my season's going, or how much time I have to hunt. I would say I'm typically, when I'm up there, I'm looking for somewhere a deer that's in the 2.5 to 3.5-year-old range or older. As far as the score, I don't really look for a specific score. Really, I tell people, like, if it comes in and the first thing I say to myself when I see it is that's a shooter, then I think it's big enough to shoot. But I think if it's coming in and I'm not sure about it, I'm like, well, he looks okay, but I'm not really sure, I think that's a sign that it's a deer I don't want to shoot. So that's usually what I tell people. I take a lot of crap from my buddies that I'm way too picky on what I shoot. I've sometimes passed up some pretty decent deer to try to shoot an even bigger deer. And to me, this is going to kind of get into a whole nother side of things, but, like, I think that there's a lot of people in the state that are, like, they're too fixed on, like, they just need to fill their buck tag one way or another. Whereas, like, I don't really see it that way. Like, when I pass up a buck to hope for something bigger, I have people then at the end of the season ask me, like, do you regret not shooting that buck now? And the answer for me is always no, because to me, it's not just about filling that tag. I like to just be out there hunting all season if I can. Whereas if I shoot a buck early in the season, I guess I'm done buck hunting, because of course we only get one buck tag here in PA. So that's kind of one thing that I tell people is, like, to me, it's not all about filling the tag. Like, if I go all season without filling my buck tag, I'm perfectly fine with it. So I guess that's why sometimes I'm a little bit on the pickier side. Like, if I want to fill the freezer, I have no problem shooting several doe and getting plenty of deer meat that way. And I'm kind of more so on the side of, if I'm going to shoot a buck, I'd like for it to be something decent. So I guess that's why I find myself sometimes passing up those deer that my buddies wish that I would shoot.
Hey, man, honestly, that's what I really like to hear, because I kind of feel like we're the same way. Would we love to kill a big deer, like a really big deer? Absolutely. But my kind of philosophy on it, as long as the deer's at least somewhat mature and he gets my freaking heart pumping, man, I don't care how big he is.
Oh, yeah.
If he comes in, it could be a little basket rack or something like that, and he comes in and he's just grunting and putting on a show and stuff, and he gets my heart pumping, guess what? I mean, he might catch some carbon, you know. But, I mean, it's kind of nice hearing how you kind of have, like, that mindset of, you know, I don't really care about the score, because we're not really big about the score. I mean, it's kind of nice to put the number to it to kind of give somebody, like, an idea of what you're
Although
looking
most
at.
people don't know what a real score is on a buck.
Right.
Right.
But anyway, sorry, Austin.
No, you're okay. You're good.
Yeah, but I agree with both of you, and I think, Grant, you're spot on. Like, when I'm hunting out there, if I see a buck and I get a shooter, I'm the same way. As soon as I know, oh, that's a shooter, I stop looking at antlers altogether. I'm not, detailing out, well, he's only got a 5-inch G3.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's going to be big enough.
You're not, like, adding the score up in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If the deer, and Austin said it perfect, if it puts on a show, it gets you excited, gets you fired up, and you're like, wow, that's a shooter. I'm no longer thinking about anything but, what is the deer's next step? What is my next step? How am I killing this animal?
Right.
That's what I look into. And last year, I kind of did, maybe what you say, Grant. I had a buck come in, and I was like, I'm texting Austin while I'm in the tree stand, because this deer's like 80 yards off, and they're hitting 2 other bucks are chasing does all through this swamp. And I'm like, man, I don't know. He's got one really good side. 6 points to a side, but his other side's broken off on the main beam right after the G2, I believe it was.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And then they put on a show for me for like 10 minutes straight. And that buck it was like a TV show where you see one buck after another, single file, just kind of going right past you at about 8 yards. They went right underneath me. And he's in the back just posturing up. He's got that, that broad shoulders, and he's just kind of posturing up, making his way in. He got to 8 yards. I'm sorry, but he just he did it for me. He did it for me, And that was the best, probably the most exciting, best hunt of my life. No, not the biggest buck I ever killed, but the best exciting hunt of my life, hands down, in the archery woods. It was unreal. So,
and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, dude.
That is what it's all about. And I guess kind of what I was trying to get at before, I like that you're being realistic, especially for Pennsylvania. I mean, granted, we're not like a giant buck state, but there are some giants in our state.
For sure.
You could, I don't want to say luck into one, but you could luck into a really big deer. I mean, I know you've seen big deer.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? If anybody goes and checks out this guy's YouTube page, the Everyday Outdoorsman, you can go ahead and check out a nice video of Grant looking at the biggest buck I've ever seen in Pennsylvania, live on the hoof, hanging out with a really nice other buck that looks so tiny next to him.
Yep.
Why don't we jump into that, Grant? Why don't we talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about that. That is a deer that kind of interesting. A lot of people when they name a deer have like one name for a deer. For some reason, me and my buddies have like 3 different names that we call this deer. We call him Mufasa, Bambi, or we call him the Tioga Legend. So I know that's kind of weird that we have 3 nicknames for it. So you might hear me call it any one of those 3 names, but it's a deer that we've been seeing or had summer trail camera pictures of ever since 2014. So that's quite a bit of time. And the first year we saw him, he was, to be quite honest with you, he was a giant back then, and that was 5 years ago. So I mean, you can only imagine how old that deer is now. I would say that first summer that we saw him, it is pretty likely that he was either a 3.5 or 4.5 year old buck at that time, which would put him now in the summer of 2019 at either 8.5 or 9.5 years old. So it's really incredible to see a buck in Pennsylvania survive that long. And like I said, for us, it's pretty much just been summer pictures almost every year since 2014. I've never seen the deer in hunting season. When I saw that thing this summer, just a couple weeks ago, the video that you guys are talking about, that's the first time I've even seen it in person since that first year we saw it in 2014. So it's been a ghost. It seems like every year around mid to late September, he just becomes a ghost and leaves our property. I assume that he has kind of like a different fall range that he's going to every year. I don't know where it is, but he's going somewhere. There's only been like 1 year through all the years that I've ever gotten pictures of him in the rut, and that was 2015. And then other than that, I've never had a picture of him in the fall. There was actually a whole year and a half where I didn't have any pictures of him at all. Like the whole year of 2016, I had no sign of him, so I thought he was dead. And then in 2017, a giant shows up, and I start comparing the pictures from 2 years previous, and I figure out it's the same deer that had been just completely ghosting me for a year and a half, all of a sudden show up out of nowhere. So now we've been seeing him each summer since then, and it's a wild story, to be quite honest. It's an incredible deer, one that was definitely really cool to see in person, even though it was just in the summertime like this in velvet out there behind my camp feeding in the field. So definitely like you guys said, there's definitely some big deer in this state, but it's important to be realistic at the same time. But I mean, the other thing too to mention is like, I think that in Pennsylvania there's this feeling that everybody gets that on public land, all the public land is bad hunting, and it just is getting hit so hard by hunters, and there's no big deer. And that is the case, I think, at some spots. But I think there are also public land spots where there are just some incredible opportunities and some really big deer. I mean, I've seen it myself in person, what some of the public land in Pennsylvania can offer. Like you guys said, I mean, Pennsylvania has some really big deer. I think that there's a lot better public land hunting out there if you're willing to look for it and willing to work. I think there's a lot better public land hunting opportunities out there than what most people think.
Yeah, no, man, you're absolutely so spot on with that. It's ridiculous. I mean, public land in Pennsylvania does have kind of like a stigma And it
Right.
does kind of, it gets kind of blown out of proportion, I think, most of the time. Like, there are those pockets, like you said, where they might get really hunted and there might be some smaller deer on them, but there are those pockets of public that are just absolutely incredible. They might be overlooked. They might just have a really low pressure on them. But I know personally myself, I've seen some pretty darn good deer on public
Oh,
in
yeah.
PA. I mean, it's,
No doubt
Mhm.
about it. I would say a deer that only gives this buck on your YouTube page, the Tioga, is that right?
Yep.
Tioga Legend, a run for
Yep.
its money, was killed, right on public land, right by my camp,
Right.
in rifle
Yeah.
season, and this thing was a
Mhm.
giant. I mean, an absolute giant. But
dang.
there are definitely some really good public land spots, and I did a little bit of scouting prior to turkey season. I was kind of turkey season scouting, but really I was deer season scouting. And I found some nice bedding areas and some really good spots that on a public land close to us that I've never hunted before that I think could be really good if you know what you're doing. And I got a game plan for it this year. I'm going to try to at least throw maybe 2 different sits at it in 2 different spots that I think are absolute money. And if they don't work out, they don't work out. But I'm curious to see because I found some really good buck bedding. Think I can kill the deer in that other people have probably would never think to hunt this spot. So it's a little bit of a secret, but I think we could maybe get it done.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
awesome. And you guys, I heard you guys had some pretty decent success here the past couple years too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we've done good. Private land, but private public. I mean, we're in Pennsylvania, nothing's posted. We're not leasing land. We're hunting property with people that also have permission to hunt the property. But we've had success. We've been very lucky over the last few years. Myself personally, I've shot 4 bucks in the last 3 years, 3 here and one in Ohio. So I am just all kinds of giddy and excited. And those are the only bucks I've ever killed with my bow. And all the years that I've been bow hunting since I was 14 years old, these last 3 years have been unreal for me. So, something just kind of clicked and starting to figure it out and actually get it done with the bow instead of missing opportunities or, kind of those kind of things. But
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Hopefully you can kind of keep the streak going this year.
fingers are crossed. I'm not even going to talk about it any farther. Don't want to curse it.
I got you.
So what else? Let's get into 2019 then. We're talking deer. We're excited for deer season. What's your goals, man? Do you have any kind of plan? I know we talked about it a little bit, I think, off air, but what are some goals going into the season?
Yeah, I would say I am going to hit Maryland really hard in September simply because of the fact that I have a whole month to hunt down there before PA even opens. And I was actually just down at one of my spots in Maryland today checking trail cams, and I was pretty impressed at some of the deer I have on trail cam down there, some pretty good bucks, a lot of doe down there too, so I'm going to look to hopefully fill the freezer with a few doe in September. I would say that's definitely a goal to get a couple doe under my belt there in September. And if I'm lucky, I'd love to kill a buck in Maryland in September if I can. I have 3 buck tags to use for Maryland, and I could use 2 of them in archery if I want to. So if I could get a buck under my belt in Maryland in September, that would be awesome. And then I could still use one, or I could still have an archery buck tag left for the rut then in November. So I would say that's kind of like my goal for September. And then once season opens here in PA, I'm going to be hitting it pretty hard up here. Definitely at a couple of my public land spots around here where I live, and then up at my camp, I'm definitely going to hit it hard in the rut up there at my camp. I'll definitely be up there for sure, for assuming I haven't filled my buck tag in the early season, which who knows what could happen. If I haven't filled my buck tag in the early season, like in October, I'll definitely hit it hard like that last couple weeks of archery, those first couple weeks in November up there at my camp. So hopefully I can get on some decent deer up there during the rut. If not, I'll hit hard in rifle season for sure. And yeah, I mean, as far as goals go, I mean, I don't necessarily have like specific goals in mind for how big of a deer I want to shoot or whatever. It's kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. Like, it's just whatever I'm feeling in the moment. Like, if I'm having fun with it, and if I tell myself I would have fun shooting that deer, or I want to shoot that deer, that's what I'll do. At the end of the day, it's all just about having fun for me, and I'm going to get to spend a lot of time out there in the woods by myself and a lot of time out there with friends and family. So that's really what I'm looking most forward to, is just getting out there and having fun if I'm lucky, hopefully shooting a few deer along the way.
Dude, I mean, that's what kind of goal? I mean, what better goal can you have, honestly? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you accomplish all that, I think you'll be sitting just fine.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how good of a deal that Maryland hunt is. I didn't realize you can shoot $3 over there.
Yeah. That's the way it works is you get two buck tags with your hunting license, and then you can purchase a bonus tag for an extra fee. You can use the first 2 buck tags. You have to, like, out of your 3 tags, you can't use all 3 of them in one season is how it works. So I couldn't use all 3 of those in archery, but I could use 2 of them in archery, or 2 of them in rifle, or 2 of them in muzzleloader. So that's how it works. Like, I can shoot 3 buck total if I want to, but 2 of them could be archery, and then the other one would have to be during rifle season or muzzleloader season. So yeah, I mean, you're right. It's awesome down there. You get the opportunity to shoot 3 buck if you want to, and a whole pile of doe tags as well if you want to fill the freezer. So it's definitely a great opportunity for anybody that is in the surrounding areas around Maryland. Like, if you live in southern Pennsylvania or anything like that, it's definitely something to check out.
that's awesome, man. That's a pretty solid deal, honestly.
Yeah, I think we're getting robbed over here. I mean, Ohio's our neighbor. We can only shoot 1 buck, and now you can only shoot 1 doe, I believe,
On
public land, which is all I hunt in Ohio. And then you can shoot a second doe, or in some areas, I believe, a 3rd doe on private land. But you're only allowed 1 doe and 1 buck. Although it is Ohio, and, I guess we don't have it too bad. There are some monsters. But Maryland, man, I see a lot of good deer come out of Maryland, though.
Yeah, there are some good deer coming out of Maryland. I think it's just like Pennsylvania. You have to kind of find the right pockets in the right areas of the state. It can kind of vary depending where you are. But you're right. There are some giants that come out of Maryland from some guys. So it's definitely a pretty good state, I think. How about up there? How often are you guys over there in Ohio? Is that somewhere you're going every year, or is that like just a place you've been to a couple years here and there, or what's the situation with you guys going over there?
So we live like 15 minutes from the border.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're really close to it. I mean, in theory, we could probably bebop over there a couple times a week if we really wanted to. We really wanted to hunt aggressive, or say we filled our buck tag in PA.
Right.
Generally, I mean, last year was the first time I got an Ohio tag in forever, and I probably hunted 5 or 6 times total. I didn't really utilize as much as I probably could have.
Yeah. But for me, myself, it's been pretty much an annual thing. So, my dad hunts. I have 3 brothers that hunt, and we typically do an out-of-state trip every year, with some family friends and then us guys. And my dad forever and ever went to Illinois, and that was his spot. But then he also hunted Ohio a lot. So over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, we've been pretty much strictly Ohio, just because of kind of the CWD and the issues in Illinois, and the price difference is ridiculous. I mean, for Ohio, for as cheap as it is, and the bucks we've been getting into, it's almost a better gig than Illinois, plus the spot we like to over the last few years, and I've really enjoyed it. I think it's going to be an annual thing for me moving forward. I don't think I'm going to ever go without an Ohio tag. It's just, it's too convenient. It's too close. There's plenty of public land near us, and the spot we really like is like 2-hour drive. We go down there, we camp, we do like a 10-day out-of-state hunting trip, and it's wonderful. Yeah, it's
that
absolutely
sounds like
awesome.
A lot of fun.
Oh man, you can't beat it. The week trip or the long weekend's fun. When you go hard for almost 2 weeks straight,
yeah,
and it's late November, and it's the best time of year, and the weather's usually pretty tough. It's a grind, but there is nothing I'd rather be doing at that time of year. It is absolutely 100% my favorite thing in the world. I love it.
I would love to get over there to Ohio at some point. It's obviously a little bit farther of a drive for me, but it had even crossed my mind trying to get over there this fall. I doubt it'll happen this year, but I think at some point here, I'd love to look into getting over there at some point, because obviously I've heard some great things about it over there. And like you said, it'd be fun to go over there and just go at it on public land for like a week or a week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever time frame I had, and get over there and have some fun.
Yeah, just chase them. It is an absolute blast, and the prices are very reasonable. There's a lot of good public land. A lot of people say that it's very over hunted. but I feel like those people don't hunt Pennsylvania public land.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We
Yep.
know overhunted, we know pressured deer, so it kind of plays into our back pocket. And when I go over there, it hasn't been the case. I have not seen as much of the deer hunting pressure as I do in Pennsylvania. No doubt about it. But man, you'll fall in love with it. I think if you can do it, make it happen, make it a goal to achieve, because it is. I mean, it's a wonderful place.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's close, and it's affordable, and it's realistic. You know, that all
Yeah,
helps.
yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. Anybody can do that. I mean, there's nothing stopping anybody from Pennsylvania from going out there. It's not like some super expensive guided out west hunt or anything like that. I mean, it's something that anybody can go out and do for pretty cheap. So,
And you can hunt Sundays.
And you can hunt Sundays, which is amazing.
That's another bonus.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much why I got a tag this year for over there is I just got tired of not being able to hunt Sundays. And those days that I actually did hunt over there, I was hunting here on Saturday and I was going over there on Sunday.
Yep.
Right.
It's a nice little filler because we're so close. But, I mean, their season even comes in before ours, I think, a full week.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I have plans that I am most likely going to be in Ohio, probably for a long weekend, and hunting at least the opener and that Sunday down where we usually go on public land. So that's pretty much written in stone for me. It's going to be an absolute blast.
Good.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Well, we're getting closer to time here. Well, for anybody out there that doesn't know who you are or where to find you, can you let them know where they can find you on social media, your YouTube channel, everything like that, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at The Everyday Outdoorsman. You can find me on Instagram at The Everyday Outdoorsman and on Facebook as The Everyday Outdoorsman. So it's all under the same name. And also be on the lookout for my website to launch here very soon, hopefully before August is over. I plan on launching a website to sell a little bit of merch, hats and stickers and stuff like that. But if they follow me on social media, that'll be the launch of the website will be well announced on the social media and everything like that. So they'll hear about it if they're following me somewhere on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever.
Awesome, man.
Well, that's it, guys. I mean, let's pretty much wrap it up. And thank you so much for coming on, Grant. We really appreciate it. I had a blast talking to you, man.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks again for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, a huge thanks to Grant Forney for coming on the episode. He is absolutely an awesome dude to talk to. A PA guy just like us, gets it done, goes out of state, has his own YouTube channel. I mean, the dude doing it full time. I mean, that's the dream, man.
That is the dream. I mean, we talk about it quite often. That's something we want to get into is filming and getting into filming hunts and, putting content out there because there's a lot of good things we're doing over here as well. But it's interesting because, talking to him, and I had some questions I asked him in that episode about what is going on that side of the state because we are, as far as hunting goes, we're clueless to what's going on over there. Besides Facebook posts that I see deer that are being killed in 5C or 5D in that area, we don't know the terrain, we don't know what's going on. So he answered all that for us, and Grant is a wonderful person. I mean, he's pretty young. I mean, he's a pretty young kid, relatively young, and his knowledge amazed me.
Yeah, definitely, man. He sounds like a seasoned hunter.
Like someone that's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah.
Is absolutely. The knowledge he brought to this episode.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. I mean, I had a blast talking with him, and we'll bring him back on. We definitely need to bring him back on and chat maybe later on.
During the season,
or just after the season.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll go kill a big old buck in Maryland, and we'll have something to chat about.
Early,
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man.
That's another thing. That Maryland hunt sounds pretty decent.
It does. I'm going to have no time to do that.
But that is something to keep in the back of our minds.
I will live vicariously through him.
Absolutely. That's why we had him on. Duh. We're living through him already.
No, I really appreciate him coming on though, and him just talking to us for as long as he did. Everybody go check out his YouTube channel. It's pretty cool. I mean, I watched a few of the videos. I haven't got through all of them yet, but they're great. I mean, he's really working hard and he's putting out some great content.
Yeah, and if you want to see the giant buck that we mentioned in the episode, it's right on there. It's right at the top of his page, man, on his YouTube channel. He films this deer for quite a while, feeding out in the middle of a field, and he is a slammer.
Definitely, man. And I'm sure if you reach out to him, he'll tell you exactly where it lives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what? He did mention he's near the New York line, right?
Yeah.
But he's on that New York-Maryland border.
Right. So where we usually hunt, where, West Virginia and New York meet, right on the panhandle there, right on that line, he hunts where New York and Maryland, right on that panhandle, right on the tip of it.
Oh.
If you just go like a little bit south of that, maybe like 20 miles, that's exactly where he hunts.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, you can get there by bus, plane, train,
automobile.
car. Yeah, a bicycle. You can bring a bicycle there. That would be good.
Yeah. So ask him about it. He'll tell you exactly where to hunt. I mean,
Yep.
He's a good dude like that.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hey.
Grant.
Grant, you're the man. He told us where it was. He even gave us some coordinates on Onyx and everything. So
Yeah.
we'll be doing that later this year.
He's a beast.
Yep, he's the man. Oh, popped another acorn top.
There we go.
All right.
Anyway,
That's where we end this. So wrap it up, Austin.
you guys can always find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Go wild at the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. If you would do us a huge favor and head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star review, that would be fantastic. I'll give you a hug when I see you. Just tell me you did it, and it'll be fun.
We have stickers. We'll send you a sticker.
Yeah, we'll send you a sticker. Absolutely.
We have new stickers.
If you take a screenshot of your review and send it to us, we'll send you a sticker. How about that? You like that deal? I like that deal.
I'm down with that.
Cool
It's
beans.
well worth it. We appreciate everybody out there that follows along and listens to us, and it's really good to hear from you guys.
Absolutely.
It means a lot to us.
Well, until next week, the distraction is real.
Distraction is real.